Hello, I'm Brandy Mabra. I am a CEO coach for private practice owners and healthcare business owners. I am the founder and CEO of Savvy Clover Coaching and Consulting. I have been in healthcare business and leadership for over 2 decades. I have all the sides of business when it comes to the payer side, the provider side, the corporate side, the small business side. And so I've been very blessed to be a Black woman and been in multiple C suites at this point in time and get to help private practice owners and healthcare business owners get their businesses to run without them. So it's a blessing.
Diversified game. Learn how to start, run, and sustain your business.
Hey, it's Kellen, and today on Diversified Game, you heard it correct. I have Miss Brandy, and she's talking healthcare. I know you were gonna think she was gonna talk about her aunt, Sade Adu. Shout out to Helen, but no, she's gonna give us the game on healthcare, and this is really special because you guys know we have some dealings in healthcare, even in the AI healthcare space, and I need you guys to really listen, especially those who know me for over 20 years, who went to Grambling State with me, and you are in healthcare. You know who I'm talking about, baby. But I need you to hear that there are other people out there who can help you. So, Brandy, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Thank you. I'm doing well. I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome, awesome. Well, let me not tell too many other people's business. We get all into yours and how you can help people. Let me know just in the beginning, what is your sweet spot? Who do you love working with in the healthcare space? Is it doctors, nurse pracs, licensed therapists, PsyDs? Do you have like a special niche inside of the healthcare space?
Actually, you listed everyone that I work with, actually. So I work with multiple different types of credentials. If you are a practitioner and you own a business, because I know that you did not go to school to learn the business side, then you're my person. So I work with therapists, physicians, psychiatrists, nurse practitioners, speech pathologists, chiropractors. So there are some wellness folks on the side of the house as well. So yeah, it's fun to be able to teach them what they didn't go to school for.
And the thing of not going to school for business, because I know some may say, well, I'm going to do an MBA or I did a joint MBA. It's very hard to play all positions and be successful. I think there's a quote, you can have excuses or you can have success, but you can't have both. Can you
Mhm.
tell us what are the number one things I want to say one, but I know it's things that you see most of these people coming to you if their house is on fire or if they're just beginning? What's some of those things that you see that they keep making mistakes on?
Oh, number one is money. So that's the number one thing is that healthcare in all of its forms, you can make a lot of money in healthcare, but unfortunately, not looking at your numbers, not understanding profitability, not understanding how money works inside of a business definitely is one of the first things. The second thing would be leadership. So when you hire and you get a team in place, they come with all of their stuff, their baggage, their experiences, their views of the world, their skill sets, their weaknesses, their strengths. And so being able to leverage that in order to grow and scale your business can become super challenging for the clients that I serve. And so there's three wheelhouses that we always focus in. So we focus on the team piece of it, the operations piece of it, and the money piece of it. When we talk about the clients that I work with, they want more freedom. They want to be able to have freedom of time. They want to be able to travel. They want to be able to take time away and have the business run without them. But that's really hard to do when you don't have money in the bank account or you're stressed financially or the team isn't able to sustain. They don't understand the assignment or the operations isn't where it needs to be. And so things fall through the cracks and things break and all the things. So those are some of the main things that I work with clients, and those are the main problems that they come to me for.
Money. What a thing. You never have enough of it or you always want more, but you're not happier, they say, after $75,000 after you earn that. You don't get much happier. That's what they say. Because somebody's gonna call me, no, I'm happy at six figures or seven. But it's all about, you know, how you use it. And I know that you talk about you can make more money, but you're not profitable. And I want you to get into that because I mentioned Sade, but I also know, you didn't come from money. So I was joking, y'all. I was trying to get that for the clicks. And I also know never to serve you beans and macaroni as a casserole. Don't do that to her at the barbecue. You can watch her YouTube channel and hear the story she talked about her father. But yeah, can you tell us, with that, give us some game on that because people get lost in the sauce.
Yeah, so the financial piece is I've worked with a lot of businesses where millions and millions and millions of dollars are coming in, and it sounds good. So I work at this point in time with multi-six, seven-figure, eight-figure practice owners, and they have been able to put themselves in a very small percentage of people. So, and even for my expertise, always up to 100 million, that means nothing, right? So when I think about the revenue piece, it's a vanity metric. Profit is definitely the most important thing and energy is the most important thing. And so when you don't have money to make payroll or you're not leveraging the profit that you have coming in order to make more money, then it can become a trap. A lot of it's very simple. It's basic 101s. How much revenue is coming in, how much money is going out when it comes to expenses, and how much money is left over. Because of the mindset that a lot of folks that I work with a lot of women of color, Black women, and just from the lens of how we've grown up, from the lens of not seeing that much money in a bank account, like what do you do? Sometimes they're not set up with the right financial partners. They don't have a good CPA. The financial advisor that they're with isn't able to help them to make the right investments in order to leverage the money in order for them to make more money. So it's a complex conversation. It's an easy conversation just from a numbers and cents and dollars and things, but there's so much emotions and thoughts and feelings when we think about money that comes into business. So they limit themselves, they overspend, they overpay. Too much money goes out. And so that bottom line isn't what it needs to be and isn't as healthy as what it could be. So when you want to go and travel, or when you want to go and buy a building, or when you want to go and get a new car, like it becomes very challenging. Or if you need a next level leader, it becomes very challenging because the money's not in the bank account. So I'm really excited because one of our clients right now, even as I'm recording this, she's in London. She's spending 9 days in London and her practice is running without her. She just promoted a COO. So when you actually pay attention to the money, which is what she did, then it's a game changer. But it starts off with what is happening now financially. How comfortable are you? What story are you telling yourself about your money? And then where are the opportunities for you to invest in order to make more of it, whether if it's investing yourself, investing back into the business, or investing in certain positions within the company becomes really super important.
Now, if you guys haven't heard or by now checked out, her website, links are in the description. Some of y'all might have already jumped to the LinkedIn and say, well, let me make sure this isn't one of those burn your leisure type of deals where somebody's just talking. This is somebody who went to school for this.
Yeah.
Went to a really good school too. Really good, really good. One of the best. But can you talk about, you said who is your client as far as the healthcare space, but who is not a good fit? Because some doctors, some nurse practitioners, heck, some plumbers that I've come across as a consultant myself, you can't teach them anything. They don't want to learn. They don't want to change. They want to have somebody to say they have someone like a Friday night date, but they don't really want to take their date on the dance floor. So, let us know who's not a good fit.
He's not a good fit. I would say somebody who is stuck in their ways. Healthcare at this point in time is changing. You talked about AI, the economy is changing, buyers' behaviors are changing. And so you have to be open to changing with the times in order to be relevant. So what worked a couple years ago, what worked at the beginning of COVID, what worked even yesterday sometimes doesn't work in today, especially when it comes to healthcare. So you have to be open, you have to be coachable. My clients that I work with are the elite, I say, of private practice owners and healthcare business owners. They think outside the box, they get creative, they take risks. We have folks who are investing in real estate because they know that that is something that's going to help them build generational wealth. We have folks who are opening up second and third locations. We have folks who just look at healthcare from a different lens And it's because they're coachable and they're open because they want to make an impact. They want to be a sounding, structure and community builder for where they're located. So, I think just wanting to go after more, but if I tell you to look at your numbers, or if I tell you to fire a certain team member, or if I tell you to, just be honest about what you want for your vision and mission, and you don't go after it fully, then you're not my client. Some of it from revenue standpoint, I don't work with anybody who hasn't at least been at six figures. But I think the more of the sweet spot is definitely the multi 6, 7, multi 7, and definitely 8 figures. So my expertise is more advanced. It's more of a higher level expertise that I bring to the table. And so I find that the folks who have more complex problems, more expensive problems, are my perfect person.
Ready to dominate your industry with strategy that actually scales? At Coleman Public Relations and Consulting Firm, we're not just PR experts, we're licensed sports agents certified in AI and elite business consultants with over 2 decades of experience leading global projects across multiple countries. Visit cprfirm.com, that's colemanprfirm.com, and millionairex.ai. Then download the Millionaire X app, your AI-powered guide to getting out of debt, investing smarter, and building generational wealth. Coleman Public Relations and Consulting Firm. It's a family business. It's different.
Of it, because that kills anybody who says, "Wait, I'm just gonna start," or "I'm struggling," and I might give Brandy a chance. No, Brandy won't even give you a chance. You're
Right.
not there yet, And a lot of times, and I'm actually, full disclosure, I am on my way to my retirement plan is to do therapy because I've done counseling in different areas with people, and so I'm, doing my MSW and all that good stuff, and having a ball doing it when you can pay cash for it, right? And not have to wait to that financial aid line anymore. But school is master's is a little different because this is my second one. But when you price yourself, how do you price yourself when you're working with the 6, 7, 8 and beyond? Because sometimes people have a hard time saying, this is what I want. Or do you do it on percentages of what that practice may make and bring in?
No, I have a retainer model that I use for private clients that I work with. So, for example, there's a client where I do on sites with her. I've helped her just hire her most recent COO. I've helped her hire her CFO. And so that's like the more advanced owner who has true, like, complicated problems where there's more of a concierge type of service. But my main bread and butter is my program called Private Practice CEO. So it's a group experience. It's a mastermind. We travel. I host 4 retreats a year. I just hosted a retreat in London. We're going to Napa in the fall. And so that is something that is community based. There's consulting that happens in that. There's a lot of coaching that happens in that from myself. I also have other team members who help me from an AI perspective. So our clients are learning more about AI, how to leverage AI inside of their program or inside of their businesses. I have a leadership coach because a lot of times the clients that I work with are able to hire somebody, but they're not able to hire somebody with like my level of expertise that would require my type of price point. So from that perspective, we train up their team members. So they're office managers, they're clinical directors, they're clinical leaders, they're practice managers, and to make sure that they're set up for success. So that's like the main way that people can work with me. But everything that I do is a multiple $1,000 price point. So there's return on investment is definitely there. In so many different ways. But at this point in time, I've helped my clients make 103% more revenue. We've had somebody go from multiple 6 to 7 figures in less than a year. And, so there's a lot of money that people are making inside the program and a lot of time that they get back on their calendar too.
When doing this, and you say 20-year journey, I too am on a 20-year journey, but Black don't crack. And so people will say, "Man, what did you start in middle school?" To you, Brandy, they'll say that. Again, I take this hat off and they say, "Okay, I see. I can see where 20 years went." But can you tell me, did you ever get caught up in when you're helping these companies where you actually try to become their CEO or they wanted you to be their COO, and now you're trying to juggle multiple clients and do everything for them because you just are, full of energy. You want to show that you're awesome and you know what you're talking about. Did you ever get caught up in that? And if not, how did you stop yourself?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I definitely get caught up in that because it's like, well, let me just hire you. Why can't you just come work for me, Brandy? Or why can't you just take over? And that is not my purpose and that is not my calling. My calling is to do exactly what I'm doing. And so my main way of working with people is the group because working one-on-one and being able to provide like what I was telling you, like even at that price point, it's a more expensive price point, especially if I'm going to come to your practice, I'm going to work with your teams and I'm going to be more hands-on. But that's not the way that I'm getting to. Even for me, I have a 7-figure community, and there's no way I would have been able to get to that if I just one-on-one my way there. And so for me to keep it scalable, it's all group. There's one-on-one that I do have within the group in order for everyone to get what they need. But there's also folks like teams of people that I have coming in. But in the beginning, yes, because I am a recovering people pleaser. I want to make sure that everybody is happy. I want to make sure that you're good. I don't want to be dragged across the internet for, hey, I paid her multiple thousands of dollars and she's a quack and all the things. And so, yeah, I'm very hands-on, but also I recognize my time and I recognize my capacity and I recognize my energy. And I spent a lot of years in healthcare burned out, and I'm not going to do that to myself again when I'm the one actually creating my company. And so I tell my clients the exact same thing. Like, you are creating this, you are your own boss. If you're mad at your schedule, change it. If you don't want to burn out, don't. If you want to travel more, do it because you have full control. So the problem is a lot of times, even just as entrepreneurs or even healthcare business owners and private practice owners, you have a company. The second that you pay attention to the fact that it is a company that you're running, then your life will change. So for me, I've traveled a lot this year and I'm able to do so because I look at my business as a company and I inspire my clients to do the same.
You've tried it your way, but you're still in debt. Or maybe you're doing okay, but want to invest smarter, grow faster. MillionaireX.ai gives you real step-by-step strategies to ditch debt or stack wealth. Stop dreaming and start planning. Visit MillionaireX.ai today. I want you to be the next millionaire next door.
Inside that, you're charging a retainer. Is that a monthly retainer, yearly, that they keep you on to keep things going? So you're kind of like the pit boss. You guys think about the movie Casino. You got the dealer, you got the manager, floor manager, you got the pit boss, then you got the eye in the sky. You're kind of like the eye in the sky for the owner to watch everything. How do you avoid your clients to have like cryptomnesia, where you teach them something and then somewhere down the line they try to teach it back to you and you're like, you didn't even have that in place. You owe me for that whole program. I could have took a royalty off all of that. I know you've dealt with it because we all deal with it.
Mm-hmm.
But how do you have those lines and checks and balances to let them know you're not that bright? That was actually me, Brandy.
Yeah, no, I have legal structures in place. So I have contracts that everybody signs. There's terms and conditions. I have a trademark lawyer that I work with to make sure that my intellectual property is protected. There's certain frameworks. So one of my sayings is own your CEO status. And so what's really funny is because at this point in time, I've repeated it so much, especially for healthcare, that my clients will come back and tell me, oh, so-and-so is saying, you have to own your CEO role, or so-and-so is saying that you need to be the CEO of your business, or, that's you, Brandy, that's you. And so a lot of it is recognizing that nobody can be me, nobody can be you, especially if you have a certain intellectual property that you bring to the table, but you also have to put protections in place in order to make sure that what you're teaching, what you're putting out in the world is protected. So that's where legal comes into play. So I have a lawyer and all the things to make sure that nobody is going over the line. But to your point, I haven't had it happen actually, where at least not that I know of, because I'm very open about it. And I think I work with a really great group of folks who have integrity and are honest. And there's certain frameworks and things that they might pick up on that they implement in their business, but they don't steal from me. So I can confidently say that.
Okay, that's awesome to hear. And it's, with that, they don't mean to. They just kind of have a cognitive overload and they forget who taught them something. And it's the reason why you might hear me quote Paul Mooney or something, because I always want to give credit to where I heard something. Um, with that, I know that, you've also talked about your AI and somebody not trying to
Yeah.
AI you, which anytime we're on these YouTubes or whatever platforms, they have permission actually to kind of take our name, image, and likeness in that long list of, things that were too damn long to read. But and they're gonna try to do it. We'll see how well
Yes.
they do it, you know.
Yes.
Yeah, but I'm heavy in the AI. Like, you'll see my LinkedIn after this invite, and every free certification you can get in AI, I go grab it. I don't care if it's from Vanderbilt, which
Mhm.
is the easiest to get. But we've been using this stuff for 8 or 9 years because we're nerds and geeks over here. But I I want to know with AI, have you made like a companion AI for yourself or your clients, or they can talk to you when you're not available, and hopefully it's like per minute they can talk to you so they don't burn all your tokens and money. But have you built any of that or thinking about any of that for the times you're not around?
Yeah, I have. I have thought about that. I think where I'm at is I'm always looking at the future. So for example, when ChatGPT came out and everybody was making what is it, GPTs and all of the things, then I actually paused. And the reason why I paused is because where AI is and what's happening is ChatGPT was the biggest thing last year. ChatGPT, here's prompts, here's prompts, here's prompts. What I told my clients is you want to make sure that you know about AI. You need to be comfortable using AI. I use AI every single day, but you cannot get attached to certain names and you can't get attached to certain tools because where we're at is we're in the beta testing of it. And so fast forward to this year, what was everybody doing and what is everybody trying to do? They're trying to go from ChatGPT over to Claude, right? So now Claude's the biggest thing. And so we have to remember when it comes to AI, if you're not using it or you're not leveraging it, I do think that you're behind. I'm definitely on that bandwagon. However, there is a CEO at the top of these companies, and so they are in the race to the top of who is going to be the master AI person. And when you have that, then there's going to be a lot of tools that get left behind. There's going to be tools that end up messing up. There's going to be CEOs because these are people who say the wrong thing, like ChatGPT with everything that happened with him partnering with the war. Like, I mean, just so much stuff that can happen and people's personal opinions get pulled into it. So be smart about it. Get to know the tools, leverage the tools. I specifically don't have a GPT because I wanted to wait and see what was going to happen before I put myself in AI version. So right now, my clients have access to Brandy, but I do have agents that help. I have automations that are working behind the scenes in my business. I have a whole AI coach that works inside of with our clients and works actually with me and my team. But at the end of the day, I'm waiting to just see, like everyone else, how AI is definitely going to play out. But I'm just of the stance where don't get attached to certain names and certain functionalities because there's going to be a bigger and greatest one next year because that's exactly what happened since last year, over the past couple of years.
Okay, okay. And you've gone from bankruptcy to this success. What would you say, like, what was the mind shift change? Was there a book you read? Was there a coach you got, a mentor? What was it that took you there? Because so many people, right now, they're like, I'm struggling to just figure it out, whether they're in healthcare or real estate. They're like, I don't know what to do. What is that change for you that snapped things back into like, okay, I'm winning?
God always wants better for us. I'm a big believer in that. And back then, I was in a place of just wanting more. So I believe if you're sitting at your desk, if you're in your life and you're like, there has to be more than this, and that means that there is more for you. There's a lot of different things that I've had to navigate in the course of my adult years. And even going back to childhood. And so there's always three things that I pay attention to. What is the vision that I have for myself? So what's the discernment that I need? What is discipline that I need to have in order to make it happen, and what's the determination factor. So the determination just to see it through. So with filing bankruptcy, there was a lot of lessons that I learned with that. I've moved from Ohio to North Carolina with my last paycheck with a 2-year-old on my side. And there was a lot of lessons that I've learned from that too. So it's more or less of, I wanted a big career. I wanted to be able to give more to my son, especially as a single mom. I wanted to not settle for just life being simple. I have expensive taste. I like luxury. And so in order to pay for those things, that requires money. And so I've always been on a hunt to make more of it unapologetically. And so that's been inside of my career. There's a reason why I've ended up in multiple C-suites, because that's where you make the most money and inside of any business. And it's also the reason why I work as an entrepreneur, just because the amount of money that you can make is untapped. So I would love to say back then I had a coach, I had all kinds of things, but I didn't know any better. I wasn't an entrepreneur then. I was just trying to go after something bigger than myself and going after the ability to be able to take care of my son. And so that meant that I needed to get a better job and I needed to have more aspiration for myself in order to have the paycheck that I needed. So I got my master's degree during that time. And so I think it's people just sit in fear of the unknown and they talk themselves out of a decision that could be life-changing for them. And I'm really happy to say that not that I don't have fear, but I always get attached to what's on the other side of it. And that's something that I've just been raised to believe. And so I think if you want better for yourself, then go after it. You don't have to sit there and just be mad at your life every single day, because there's so many beautiful things that you can experience on a daily if you decide to do it.
Okay. For my licensed clinician, social workers out there who say, okay, she's dealing with 7-figure businesses only. If they're not there, what do you think could be an anchor that you see, them particularly, what are they doing wrong, or not doing yet, I should say?
If they're not at 7 figures, I think a lot of it has to come down to the habits that you have today. And are you prepared for what you're asking for? So I am always the number one question to ask yourself is, if 7 figures were to arrive on your doorstep today, would you know what to do with it? Are you prepared for that type of clientele? Are you prepared for that many patients inside of your practice? Do you have the capacity for that? Do you have the team that's ready for that? And usually the answer is no. So what you do today is you get prepared for it. So if you have $100 in your bank account today, are you being a good steward of the $100 that you have? If you don't have a good accountant, if you haven't filed your taxes, file your taxes. If you aren't comfortable delegating, then get comfortable delegating. If you aren't comfortable with, even like we were talking about with AI or using AI, then get comfortable with that. So there's things that you need to do to prepare for the 7 figures. So that way, when it comes, it doesn't feel like a handcuff. I work with 7-figure business owners, and I would love to say that all of them come to me with their stuff completely together. But a lot of times they come to me with missteps that they didn't do at the 6-figure stage that we're now having to go back to put into place because they didn't have the good accountant. They haven't, they're not aware of their tax situation or have good tax strategy. They hired the wrong person. They aren't leveraging the tools that they have inside of their business because they don't have time. They're in the weeds. They're acting like an employee. And so when you think through what it takes to be at 7 figures sustainably and with freedom in mind, then it starts today with you owning your time. Where's your time going? Owning your financials. Where's your money going? And then definitely making sure that you're stepping up as a leader and not keeping everything on your plate, thinking that you have to be the one to do everything yourself.
And when you have, 7-figure practices, whether it's in that or somebody has a medical clinic, on the average, how many team members do you see successful companies having? Because some people try to do it bare bones and say it's going to be me and 2 other people or me and 1 other person, and now you're burning everybody else out, including yourself, trying to do the paperwork on the front, see the patients in the back. So on average, what would you say?
It depends on specialty. It depends on if it's just like a simple therapy practice and you need providers to see those clients. When we think about ratios, it's one admin to six, can really serve anywhere between six providers up to even 11, right? Just depending on specialty. If you have your phones are ringing, or if you have a lot of messages that are coming into the queue, if you have to write prescriptions or do prior authorizations, or if there's a lot of medical questions that are coming through, those practices require different types of support. But when we think about benchmarks, then the order of things is, if you start your practice first as the provider, then you fill your schedule. The first hire that you need to make is an admin. That admin is now going to free up your time. When patients start to build, then the next hire would be another provider. As that workload continues to increase, you're keeping an eye on, do I need to add more clinical support, or do I need to hire another admin to help take care of things? So that way your providers aren't in the weeds, or your team members aren't in the weeds, who can generate revenue. If you are yourself as the owner in the weeds and you're not able to do higher revenue generating activities, then you're losing money every single day. So it's important for you not to overhire, but that one admin to anywhere between 6 to 11 providers is helpful for people. When you get closer to 11, that's where you start to look at, probably need a second admin. If you have a practice, like there's a practice that I work with who has five providers in it, but it's a more complex specialty. So that admin team, that clinical support team, looks completely different than the therapist practices that I work with, who have 20, therapists on team, and they have a couple of admin, who are helping with that, and whether if it's an intake coordinator or if it's a just an admin person who's helping with answering phones, compared to some of the leadership team that they have in place. So it just really depends on the complexity of the field, and then definitely how much stuff is coming through the practice on a day-to-day basis.
Question that maybe can help somebody who's listening to this and saying, you know what, I might be into healthcare, I might not, but online, and everything online is true nowadays, especially on the TikToks. You have people saying, well, you don't need, health insurance, because you can just pay up front at the clinic and it's cheaper. And insurance, insurance is surely not perfect, but it depends if you have good insurance or if you got something, off the corner, we'll say. But for the folks who are doing billing, sometimes, there's people who only want cash payments and they don't want to deal with insurance, or they don't want to deal with your insurance. What would you say to that business owner trying to, build up their business? Should they lean more on insurance and deal with the headaches, or should they lean more on cash payments?
I think it depends on the economy that we're in. There are more folks who are wanting to use their insurance because they're paying for it every day, and just asking the question. Also, it's based on region. So I work with clients globally, but even just using the States as an example, the needs of somebody in California is completely different than the needs of somebody maybe in New York, or different from a person who might be in Chicago. And so understanding what your market is important. I have clients who are all cash pay, who are doing very well. It's the cash that's coming in from contracts. It's cash that's coming in from people who can actually pay cash on a continual basis, and it doesn't hurt their pockets. And then I have folks who have a combination of both, from a cash pay and from also taking on some payers, like higher level payers, in order to soften the blow, because there's so many people who are calling to ask for insurance. So from a business decision, you have to decide if you want to be all cash pay. If you're going to be all cash pay, then you need to partner with people and get patients who can pay cash and aren't going to ask to use their insurance. So the referral network that you have is going to look different compared to a referral network for a practice that actually takes insurance. The conversations that you have when that person calls, you're going to make sure that they can use their HSA, their FSA. If you need to submit a super bill or give them a super bill so they can get reimbursed in maybe working with their insurance, then you need to have all those systems set up. But it's it's definitely up to the practice whether or not they want to do that. I am not cash pay or like pro cash pay or pro insurance. I'm pro profit. So if you can't sustain on insurance, then you need to bring in other sources of revenue in order to increase the cash that's coming into the practice. And then if you are all cash pay and you still can't get enough of clients in who want to pay cash and you're still losing money, then you need to fix that too. So
Gotcha. And you guys, she said a word, HSA. I recently taught you guys on the other show, the Killing Cash. Your HSA can also turn into a Roth if you know how to use it. Go ask a financial advisor or whomever you want to believe on that. But go, check that out because you don't have to spend all the money that's in the card. It won't rot if you know how to use it. Talking about using your talents and your gifts, what is a community give back that you're doing or one that you would like to do in the future? And if there's a way that we can help you with that, please let it be known.
community give back. I always work with folks, actually a couple people from a scholarship standpoint where I am trying to help them get to a place of profitability inside of their business. So there are some folks who have made just crazy decisions because they felt that that's what they needed to at the time and they've kind of put themselves in a hole. So I work with them for free, like pro bono, to help them get out of the hole that they're in order to make sure that they're set up for success. So my mission with Private Practice CEO and just the clients that I work with, it's community. When practices don't do well, when providers, their businesses go out of business, then our whole community suffers. Our healthcare, access to healthcare suffers. We're now put into a position where we only can go to maybe a hospital system, or we don't have as many resources for us to pick from. I think it's super important for us, even as Black people and people of color, to have access to good providers, good businesses that are healthy in order to make sure that we're able to take care of ourselves. So that's one way that I give back is if you honestly just can't afford to work with me, and I know that, and you're in such a hole, then there's a couple of folks that I've just worked with pro bono. So that's one way that I try to help.
Okay, please have you guys' stuff together. If you call trying to be one of those people, call, have your stuff together. Don't say, a whole bunch of just nonsense and she don't need to hear all your pity story. Just say, look, I've messed up. I need help. It's just like, you don't have, it's not the confession booth, at least from hearing this, because I hear it all. And have you ever heard somebody trying to like sell their car, their baby's car just to work with you? And it's like, it's probably not going to help you for the long term because there's so many other things that you've done wrong, in life, and not just business wise, personally. Look what's in your garage, you guys. Look.
Hello everyone, join us on an exciting journey with Explore the World Cameroon. London and Sydney go take you explore Cameroon, the heart of Africa. Experience the vibrant culture, nature and tradition from Yaoundé market to rainforest adventures. Every page a new discovery. Join the Cameroonian food, music and wildlife with our explorers. This book na true celebration of Cameroon spirit. Get your copy now, available on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, and through your library and bookstores via Ingram's Park. Don't miss this adventure.
Can you give us maybe one more uncomfortable truth for all entrepreneurs that are coming to you that they have to come to grips with, okay, they got their budget together, they're listening to you on everything, but there's maybe something that I've missed that you haven't been able to say that you've wanted to say all the time. I'll give you an opportunity. I know you have your own YouTube channel. You guys check it out. But if there's anything that we all could learn from that you see, please let it be known.
Yeah, if you can't take off 5 days in your practice or your business without having to check in with your team, look at your email, be stressed out, the anxiety that can happen, then you're probably my person. Like I said, our clients are able to take time off. They don't open up their laptops. They have teams that are engaged have buy-in. They have freedom. Truly entrepreneurship can give you freedom. And when you have a business that is sustainable and runs without you, then you can have freedom too. So if you're just stressed out about the day to day, then I am your person to help you get out of the day to day. So that way you can make more money, have more money in the bank account, definitely get out of the weeds, have more time back in your calendar, and be able to step into, the ability to take a vacation and spend time with your family and definitely get to enjoy life. So I would say that that's definitely the person. I did want to go back if you're open. Can I go back and say
Of
something? Okay.
course.
Yeah, I do want to say for this year, like my roster, like I have a cap where how many people I work with. And so for this year, that cap is done. But if somebody is interested and or has a hard time, then maybe next year they can reach out. But everybody else needs to have the budget to be able to afford to work with me. For sure. So yeah, come together with your coins.
Put your reminders on for the next cycle of, charity that she'll be
Yeah.
giving. And with that, I love what you're doing because I tell people I don't do everything for our clients. I want to build teams around you. I'm not a financial advisor. I might have some certifications that maybe mean nothing to you or whatever, but I want to get people like CFPs and lawyers and CPAs always involved. One, because I want to do everything. I enjoy my life. This is my office right here. I get to hang with my kids, my wife. Everybody works from home. I'm chilling. But would you say that, you set up people's businesses? Some people may say, can you help me set up my life? So you set up my business. Can you then tell me where to invest my money? Or do you also help with getting CFPs and different things? You have a lot of certifications yourself and letters behind your name. So let people know what you don't do for clients that might say, oh yes, I needed a mom, I needed a wife because mine was incompetent. So please help me because mine just wants to shop, or I got a husband that he just wants to shop and he doesn't want to put anything away for our retirement, which is inevitable unless you die early. So on that as well.
Yeah, no, I make sure that you have the right partners in your corner. So I am not a CFP and I am not a CPA. And so I'll make sure that you have the right folks around you and will refer you out. I have a rule. It's 3 to 5. And so the 3 to 5 is when you're trying to find the right partner or you're trying to work with the right vendor, then you talk to 3 to 5 people. If you don't know by 3, you'll definitely know by 5. And so that's something that I tell my clients every single day. So there's folks that I'll throw my hat in the ring for them, just to talk to this person, but also too, I don't take offense if they choose not to go with that person because they do the legwork that they need in order to find the right financial partners, the right HR people, the right accounting people, in order to make sure that they have the structure that they need around their business. Remember, it's a company, so.
And what would you say to those people who might, go to that one, like going to one dealership and they say, I didn't want to shop around. They made sense even if they were more expensive. How does that usually end?
I think that you probably did yourself a disservice. So, I think that even, especially car dealerships or even just in general, having a comparison is helpful, especially if you are still trying to learn so if you've never ever bought, for example, like a luxury car, then I wouldn't suggest for you to go to one. I would suggest for you to go to multiple luxury dealerships so you can see maybe you get 6 free oil changes with this one. Maybe the other one you get VIP valet parking, at another location. So that way you can understand more what you want and more what's out there in the market. It's called market research. And so that's the part of the rule of 3 to 5. It's all market research to make sure that when you get to that decision, you can say, oh, I not only do I get 6 free oil changes, I now get VIP service when I valet park my luxury car because I went over here and I took that deal back over here. And now I'm getting everything that I want. So a lot of times people don't know what they want, or you don't know what you want until maybe you see it because you don't even know what's possible. So when you actually do the legwork, then you can see exactly what's possible for yourself, both in business and in life.
And I tell people the same with even our services. Go to somebody else. See if you like, if they have to be in a suit every time you see them, and if they have to pull up in the Aston Martin for you to say, okay, I respect it. But I see a lot in the Black community because we deal with everybody. I see a lot of in the Black community folks, just buying because this is the first person who said they were fill in the blank, or that, I don't need help. I'm just going to figure it out, which is the most expensive lesson
Oh my God.
that I've seen. If you know why that is or have a solution for it, please let it be known, because we need to pop pills into people's mouths to say you don't have to figure everything out. There's formulas to win in business.
Oh my God. Yeah. Success leaves clues. I think that's one of my favorite quotes. And there is that success leaves clues. And one thing I know, just because I've worked with so many millionaires and even folks who are on the verge of billionaires. And at the end of the day, they are always negotiating. They never take the first deal. They're always looking at a way, how can I get a better deal? So there was a particular cardiologist that I worked with who is a trust fund baby. And he would always come in and say, hey, I need a new printer. Can you go find a coupon for me? This was earlier in my career. And I would think, like, you have money to buy a printer. You could buy 20 printers and not feel the effects of it. But at the end of the day, like, it's because he wanted his 30% off. And so we think, especially in our community, we think that if we get money, we just spend it and spend it and spend it on things that it makes us look rich, when actually the rich use their money in other ways. So that 30% that he's saving, he's going to take that 30% and then invest it, so that way he can leave trust funds for his kids. So the thinking is backwards too. So that's the part of the 3 to 5, is because you don't take the first deal. You don't go into any situation without having nuggets of information of your own, and you negotiate. Always. So, there's always something, this, yeah. So I think,
and that's on both.
I'm rambling on.
No, you're good, because that's on both ends. Because people think they'll come to you and like they're doing you a favor, and when you tell somebody, if they're like familiar with the FIRE movement or something, you'd be like, I already hit my Coast Fire number. I'm not desperate for business. Business, it keeps coming in, thank God. But I'm not desperate as 20 years ago. Everybody who knocked on the door, you're like, come on in, I'll help you. Whatever you got in your pocket at the time. Those days are long gone, and that's what it's supposed to be if you're doing things at least halfway right. So let the people know where they can find you online, offline, all those good things. Links will be in the description, so you guys can go check that out, because I know most of you are listeners, but go over to the YouTube and the other places you can see this. So when you see Brandy in person, you say, help.
Yeah, so you can find me. My favorite place to hang out is actually Instagram. So you can find me at Brandy, Brandy Mabra, Mabra. You can also find me on LinkedIn, same thing, at Brandy Mabra. And you can find me on YouTube under CEO Conversations, the Private Practice Podcast. And I think that's it. So my website is www.savvyclover.com, SAVVYCLOVER. And you can find additional resources, tools. I also host a monthly workshop, 2-hour monthly workshop, where if you need additional business help, advice, guidance, especially when it comes to your healthcare business and private practice, then I am your person.
You guys have got the game. If you guys are in Charlotte, you're really blessed to even maybe have a sit down or invite her to come do some public speaking, paid public speaking. Charlotte is such a special city, like Atlanta, like Oakland, California. I'm biased. So many places. But you guys, Black Charlotte, if you haven't been, y'all need to go check it out. And I love you too, South Carolina, because I know you guys will say something, but you guys check the descriptions. Thank you for commenting. Thank you for liking. Most importantly, though, I need you to share this game with somebody. It will change their life. People need help. Y'all be blessed.
Are you tired of the rat race in America? Are you ready to visit the motherland to relax and rejuvenate? Are you ready to explore all that Africa has to offer? Then check out the brand new Diversified Game Academy course, Prepare for My First Trip to Africa. Are you worried about being able to afford the trip? We got you. We will show you how to travel either on a budget or as a baller. Learn how to stress the value of the USD. Did you know that 100 United States dollars is worth over 1,000 South African rand, or 10,000 Kenyan shillings, or 54,250 West African CFA? Are you worried about taking your kids? Get the game from Kellen Cash, a bona fide world traveler, having traveled to almost 20 countries, several of those in Africa. Get the game on taking your kids on their first trips. Learn how to find the best tickets, get the visas, and plan your own adventures in Africa. Don't let Eddie Murphy have all the fun. Plan your own coming to Africa trip starring you, produced by you, and featuring you. If you are ready for a life-changing experience, sign up for our course today, Diversified Game Academy. Get prepared and purchase at diversifiedgame.com.